Hey everybody, I just wanted to finish the last question that we talked about this morning. Since it's possible there will be, I don't remember, but I believe it is possible that there is a homework question or two that is kind of similar to that, where it does actually ask you to find those final concentrations. And I remembered how to do it literally 10 seconds after I ended the video stream. Anyway, so here's how you would do that. So essentially we're going to use the fact that we now have two different equations that relate to those two concentrations, and we can use those two equations to find our two unknowns. Anytime you have two unknowns, you need two equations to solve for both. Same thing, if you have three unknowns, then you need three different equations to be able to solve for those. Since we have two unknowns and we have two equations, we can solve for those. So our two equations are going to be the fact that we know that the concentration of nickel plus the concentration of zinc is equal to 1.6, and we know that the ratio of the zinc to the nickel is equal to 504. So there's a couple different ways that we can use these to solve. I'm going to go ahead and modify the ratio to solve here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides of this equation by nickel. And so what that's going to end up doing is just going to take that nickel and move it to the other side. So again, all I'm doing there is just multiplying both sides by nickel 2 plus. And so that tells me that the concentration of zinc 2 plus is equal to 504 times the concentration of nickel 2 plus. And so now I have something that I can take and plug into this equation for zinc. So I'll go ahead and take this, plug that in there, and I will get nickel 2 plus 504 times nickel 2 plus is equal to 1.6. And so this is going to end up, adding those two together is just going to give me 505. Nickel 2 plus is equal to 1.6. If I divide both sides by 505, the concentration of nickel 2 plus is now, let's see, 1.6 divided by 505 gives me 0.00317. So that is my concentration of nickel 2 plus. And now that I have that, I can go back to this equation again, plug that in here, and just leave the zinc as it is, and I will end up with 0.00317 plus the concentration of zinc is equal to 1.6. So I'm just going to end up subtracting 0.00317 from 1.6. And I'll end up with something that is essentially still 1.6, but not exactly 1.6. And that is 1.59, let's see, 7, I guess we'll say. The sig figs here get a little bit wonky. Like if I kept 3 sig figs, if I kept, I only had 1.6 here, you would have no change essentially, but I do want to show that there is a change, so I'll do 1.597. And so those are my two concentrations. I don't know why I couldn't think of that while I was talking with you all 3 minutes ago, but, well, I guess at this point, 7 minutes ago. But anyway, that is how you would solve for those two concentrations. working out, getting started on that is the hardest part. Once you know what to do, the actual process is not all that difficult. So like I said, you probably will have a homework question or two where you will do something similar, and this should be a good helpful guide for how you would work through that. So, and again, remember all those numbers that we got that from back here. So we had the 504 from the part 3 of that question, and the total concentration being 1.6 we got just from the initial concentrations of the stuff that we're working with. All right. Let me know if you have any questions, and good luck on the homework.